Good morning. RobAlexanderHealth.com is the site. I'm just waking up, doing my morning sun, and I was just thinking about wireless communication, wireless technology, and sunlight. And I was kind of thinking about how, wireless tech uses frequency to go through the air and then is picked up by receivers. And I was just sitting here in the sun, kind of realizing how light is a frequency and how I'm a receiver that's picking that up. And also I'm sitting here, if you, the grass here is all wet with dew, and basically my bare feet on this wet grass, I'm the wireless receiver kind of picking that up and then connecting the circuit. It's just so interesting to me how nature really is original tech, and that our efforts at technology are kind of, shabby in comparison. But also, if you understand that, how light frequency works with your biology, you kind of understand why the negative effects of tech work against us. It has everything to do with those, you're conductive, and those frequencies and signals are basically just putting out anything that it's not specific to one receiver. It's built to be smart tech, quote unquote smart tech, so that it just puts out a signal that anything that is geared towards that can receive. Well, us humans in our biology, that's how it works for us. So we are affected and we pick up because the little mitochondria inside the cells, mitochondria power the cells, but inside the mitochondria, you've got electron chain transfer, and that's where electrons basically go through a chain of events that is a process of complexity from a simpler state where they're more quantum, and those electrons put out frequencies. They put out light. They're electric. Electric looks like light. I've talked a lot about this in the blogs, but just sitting here, it's becoming so very, very simple as to why the effects that we're having from Wi-Fi and tech are a problem. And so things like the Fitbits and the wireless headphones and the cell phones to our head and all these different signals, whether it be your smart meters or your Wi-Fi routers, or just the inability to even get that morning sun to connect this circuit with your feet on the ground. We're mobile devices. Humans are mobile. Trees are hardwired to the earth, and humans are mobile. And so the way that we're mobile is through a process where we can unplug from the sun and the earth, rely on our internal mechanisms during that time, and then we plug back in. And so if you plug back in, especially every morning, like this, get your feet on the wet grass or sand is even better if you're near the ocean. Get the morning sun. What that does is it calibrates. The wireless receiver that is your brain picks up the frequencies of light, and then those frequencies communicate to your brain what time it is, and it release the proper chemicals and hormones in your body. So people measuring hormones and different neurochemicals that are not taking time into account on light frequencies, chances are they're just not tuned to the right station to get the information that they need. It's no different than a radio signal. When Brian Hoyer came out, and I did a blog on that when he came and did our EMF review to see what our environment was like. With his meters, he was able to, touch it himself and show the different radio signals that his body was picking up like an antenna. And it was kind of cool to see that, that we're just doing that all the time. Cool and terrifying at the same time. But the sun is putting out its signal to communicate to our brains with wireless frequency. Well, that's just Wi-Fi. Like, it's nature's Wi-Fi. And we have to understand how nature's Wi-Fi works and why our Wi-Fi that's unnatural competes with it. It's competing frequencies. So if you shine the wrong light into your eyes or on your face, that's a frequency. That's a wireless frequency that basically is telling your body the wrong information, so you don't get the station. Or the more signals, the more jumbled that station is. You won't hear, like if you've ever tried to tune into a radio station but it's like off and you can hardly hear it, that's what happens. With the more signals your body is exposed to, the less it can tune in to hear the subtleties of nature's station that communicates to us. Historically, it didn't need to yell, so it doesn't. There wasn't competition with that signal, so nature just speaks to us. Unfortunately, there's so many competing sounds are frequencies, so there's so many competing frequencies that nature can't be heard by our biology, and then the body has to guess, where am I, what should I do, what time is it? It's just guessing. The more guesses that it gets wrong, the worse your health is, the worse your brain is, the worse your thoughts are. People don't have any idea what time it is, so they're measuring all these things with no context. People are telling me they have low hormones or different chemical expressions, and the tests are bad that they're doing because they're not taking into account any of the factors that would release and express those hormones, being light and time. So I'm just realize that when you look on your phone and you see how many Wi-Fi signals your phone can pick up, your biotech, being your body, picks up all those same signals. It's no different. I mean, the significant difference is that we need to reframe our idea about what technology is, because people tend to not think of their bodies in terms of electromagnetics or frequencies. They tend to think of them in terms of chemistry, and chemistry is powered. Like ATP comes as a result of electron chain transfer, meaning that electromagnetics powers the system. So if you don't know anything about the electromagnetics of the body, biohackers, your body, like your biology, is high level biotech already. Implanting our tech into your body in any way, whether it be wirelessly or directly, diminishes that tech. It would be like strapping an old iPhone 2 to your brand new laptop or something like that. You just attach old tech, outdated. I mean, our tech is so unrefined, and that's where the ego comes in, because nature spent millions and millions and millions of years perfecting this thing to live in perfect balance and harmony with its environment. And our egos basically just want to be more out of ignorance, because we don't know what we really are. If you really understand the high level biotech that is you, spend way less time interested in low-level, man-made, distortion-based tech. Now, once again, like, I'm using a phone for this. I take certain precautions, and I get it. And I'm not saying to completely avoid tech in every way unless you can or want to. But I will say that our society does a really poor job of educating people about the use of the tech and also the use of their biotech in terms of their own health. And that's kind of what I'm trying to share, because I spent so many years trying to do healthy things with superfoods and detoxes and just cleanses and all kinds of stuff that's standard. And I could just go on and on, but now I know, sitting here connecting the circuit with the wireless frequencies from the sun, and then allowing that to express itself with my solar panel and my biotech, and then grounding that out through the conductive water that's on the earth, on this grass. It's deep benefits there that no amount of these kind of common alt health ideas is gonna be able to compensate for a wireless device that never gets plugged in. I don't care what you do, like, to your phone. If you never charge it, it's not going to work. Your biotech, your wireless, trees are corded, they're hardwired. So we developed stomachs, other mechanisms to allow us to be mobile. We're more complex. At the same time, that complexity causes the potential for more problems because we are unplugged. So then plug yourself back in, and it's not just about grounding necessarily, but about understanding the time, and also understanding in our modern environment why things like grounding and the danger of grounding sheets and some of these things that would be so easy. It seems so easy, like, oh, if I could just buy this grounding sheet and plug it in. The problem is that, and this is something I did years ago and people don't know at all, but laying on top of that sheet, it's a net for Wi-Fi, and you conduct and you will fry yourself. Like, do not sleep on a grounding sheet if you can get a cell signal. So 20 years ago, when this stuff came out, tech was so low level in terms of its wireless capability that the information was true. As tech increases, the information changes. So grounding sheets and some of these things that used to be tools are now obsolete, even dangerous. These health frequency devices plugged into AC wall plugs. If you understand what an AC wall plug is with alternating current, and you run on DC, you don't want the frequencies kicking off any of that stuff. I mean, I get the appeal of the biotech, biohacker world where they just want new toys. We get so hung up on shiny, like, ooh, shiny new this or that. We get so bored with the thing we can never make. We can never even come close to, which are these basic natural things that we're just desensitized to the magic that is nature. I only know this because I'm a city boy who, up until the past year or two, was completely out of touch with nature, like completely, in every way. And people that knew me, like, they just laugh at me now because I sound so damn hippie in terms of how I'm just constantly talking about just light and nature, but it's if you understand the electromagnetics of how all this plays out with you, I was also very, very sick that whole time that I was unplugged. And it helps to really understand it so that you're not just thinking of it as woo stuff like, oh yeah, this and that and chakras and, auras. If you understand electromagnetic overlapping vortexes, then you can talk about chakras. If you understand the magnetic field of your body, then you can talk about auras. If you understand so many of these different things in terms of the meridian system or what energy really is, because all energy is electromagnetic energy at its root, at its core, then you can start to connect all the alt health new agey stuff that seems super, super woo. But the people that are energy workers that can't tell me what energy is, like, those are the people that are toying with things and that they just don't even understand. So it's not enough, to I want to learn from someone who's mastered the thing, and chances are somebody who you want to have somebody that knows the forces that they're working with. And when I say forces, I mean electromagnetic forces, because everything that used to be considered like spiritual and magical was things that were basically beneath our sensory systems, because our sensory systems are made of things. The things they're made of, we can't quite put our hands on because our hands are just too big to grab onto them. In the same way that air is a thing, it's a real thing. It is the essence of our life in terms of oxygen intake, but it's also not something that's as tangible as maybe a rock or a tree. So I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I'm sitting here just enjoying the sunshine, and I really wanted to take a minute. Usually I'll, if I ever do videos, I'll do like a quick 3 to 5 minute just like snap, but I feel like I do enough blogs. So it's robalexanderhealth.com. There's the health blog there. And I do a lot of blogs on Wi-Fi and tech and electromagnetics and these different things. And the reason I just keep harping on it so much is because it's the foundation of everything. It's also the most misunderstood, neglected thing, in my opinion, in health. So I want to understand it. I also want to explain it. I want to have a conversation to understand it better. But these type of things are things that, I wish someone had told me sooner, because I put myself through a lot of suffering in my ignorance. I'm chasing mainstream health ideas from people who really don't know anything about what powers the body. With your health practitioners, whether they be standard MDs, alternative naturopaths, chiropractors, nutritionists, any of these people, look at the lights in their office. Like, really look and ask them, what powers this whole system? What makes everything in my body go? And if they don't dive into electron chain transfer, I don't think they deserve your money. It's like chemistry is a result of physics, and physics is a result of quantum physics, and quanta is frequencies emitted by electrons. They're little suns. It's sunlight coming off an electromagnetic electron. So, we need to change our conversation about health and what powers the system, especially as the tech environment gets worse and worse. All the effects, whether it be mental, emotional, because that's your brain, your heart, those are the two most mitochondrially, meaning the most electromagnetic parts of your body. So people don't necessarily equate their anxiety with tech. They should. They don't necessarily equate their inability to cope with their family with tech. They should. Because your family might be difficult in different ways, but your ability, your margin to cope with difficult things is diminished by the tech that surrounds you. So if you alleviate the tech stress, all of a sudden your margin increases, and then you can handle your work better. You can handle your partner better. You can handle all these things because you have the margin to do it. But people are not making that connection. If your biology is fighting battles on multiple fronts, the more you remove those other battles, the more it can focus on the actual battle in front of you. That's the thing you probably think you're stressed about, but your biology is stressed from being fried from our tech. So we got to get back to a simpler way of being, and that comes with costs. Like, we don't get to have our cake and eat it too. It's a deep wisdom in the fact that you can't go left and right at the same time, meaning you can't have everything that tech offers you without the tech in the modern age. You've got to make choices. You've got to make sacrifices. You've got to decide. I'm deciding what conditions I put on my tech use. It's not all or nothing. It's just you have to be the owner of your life, where you put up the boundaries for yourself and your life and your family and your health. So, in any case, have a good morning. RobAlexanderHealth.com. Lots and lots of information in the blogs about this stuff. Dive into it. I'm trying to work on reorganizing things a little bit, because I think I've buried some good stuff. My favorite blog probably that I've ever done is called Health Mom and Dad Are Breaking Up, or Mom and Dad Are Splitting Up, I think. And that was one of my real favorites, based on understanding what I think the modern age is actually a result of in terms of electromagnetic cycles that most people just are totally out of touch with. And that's why things like climate change are such a big topics of conversation. And it's like, people don't know cycles in nature, so they don't know that climate always changes. It would be like saying the clock change. Well, of course the clock is changing, like it's set to time. So clocks change. That's what they do. Climates change. Environments change. Our ability to navigate those changes is what allows us to survive or die. I'm not a fan of polluting the earth at all. I'm not saying that the people doing pollution should continue. I just feel like it's the wrong name. Climate change is an issue, like pollution is an issue. Let's call it that, because climates change. It's just, if you understand the magnetic cycle of the earth, that's changing. Anyone talking about climate change and not talking about magnetism, I don't really want to talk to them, because that cycle is in decline and it has nothing to do with us. There are things you can do, and there are things, and the more conversation that we waste talking about the wrong things, the cost of that is the solutions that come from talking about the right things. And we're not talking about the right things, because all charge on the planet and temperature variation is altering itself based on the magnetosphere of the planet and its natural cycle. Also, be aware of, like, anything with the word smart. It's like smart tech or green tech. Those can be very dangerous things, because we're trying to have our cake and eat it too. So it's like, how can we continue to grow the power grid and have these natural benefits? Probably can't. They're finding out now that like all these green tech things, those are sales pitches for ignorant people. Like these electric cars, it's like riding around in a big ass cell phone, getting fried, thinking that you're changing the climate of the earth because you can't smell the emissions. But those batteries and the tech running through those cars, I find out that has a worse toll on the earth, because what are those batteries made of? People don't know. They don't know where they come from. They don't know how long they take to break down. It's a sales pitch, man. People are suckers. We got to wake up to the fact that a lot of people that want to make money are getting into green stuff, not because they know anything about science, but just because they know everything about selling. So, I don't know, there's a certain musk in the air when I talk about these things. I can smell it. It's ridiculous. So, question your heroes on this war against climate change, because chances are they're pushing Wi-Fi tech under the ground, in space, and here all over the earth. That's the furthest thing from nature, and it's the furthest thing from a solution to our problems. Is the world going to change and go and reduce its tech addiction? I doubt it. But you need to. You need to question your own use and figure out the sacrifices that you and your family need to make, because no one will protect you from this stuff, because they're addicts too. People think big pharma is big. It's not. Big pharma is tiny compared to big tech. So if you think like different industries are, like Monsanto and the glyphosate stuff and all that, yeah, that's bad. It's just not near the prevalence of and power of tech. It doesn't even compare. And also, like, the mechanisms we have to use to reduce our toxic load, that's charge. It's electromagnetics. So, all right, so check out the blogs. I feel like there's a lot of free content there, and yeah, let's have a conversation about this stuff. I want to sharpen my mind. So, let's talk. I'm interested to learn and grow, and I think we all need each other, but we also need to not lump ourselves into these groups and just, yeah. All right, have a good day. Enjoy that sunshine.